Okay, so I want to look at putting watermarks behind your pages. A lot of companies, a lot of individuals, instead of going out and paying extra to get their logos or what have you as a watermark in the back of pages, it's kind of expensive. But here, what you can do is have a watermark printed on your pages as you print out your different documents. So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to show you how to put that in there. And we can use, we can put text in the background, we can put graphics, so it could be your logo back there, it could be anything. So here's how we're going to go about doing this. So we're going to go over to the Design tab, all right? And then over towards the right here in the page background, we have the watermark. And we click onto that, and we have a number of different presets, and these are just textual in nature. So we'll start this off by just doing one of these preset ones. So let's just say we want to do this one here called Do Not Copy, all right? Or better yet, how about Confidential? So we'll click on the Confidential, and there it goes, all right? I mean, it's pretty quick, so you can kind of scroll through here, and you can see now that throughout the entire document, we now have Confidential in there, all right? Now, you want to go a little bit further with this, what we can do is we can click back on there again, and then we can go here to the custom watermark down here. And currently, you can see here we're using the text watermark, and the text is the word confidential. Now what we can do is we can actually select that, and we can type in something like for your eyes only. It's one of those James Bond movies. All right, so for your eyes only. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hit apply so you can actually see what we've got so far. So I click on to apply, and there is your for your eyes only. Now, right now it's set to be going diagonal, which you can see there. If we clicked on to horizontal and then hit apply, there it is horizontally. I think it looks better diagonally, so we'll just leave it like that. The other thing is that you can also change the color a little bit. Like right now it's a pretty light gray that's in the background there. So what we're going to actually do is click onto that little drop down arrow, and we can find maybe a different color. And if I apply that one now, there you go on that. See, now it's a little bit, might be a little bit darker, but it is set to be kind of transparent. Now if I take the transparent off and hit apply, then it's even darker. And that's really obvious. And you might not want to get it that much there. So we'll put it back to transparent. We'll go back to the colors here, and we'll find something a little bit less drastic. So maybe a little bit less red here. So maybe this one right there. Click on to apply, and there you go. Now another type of watermark we can do is one that would have, let's say, your company logo or something like that. And the way you would do that is you could just be in here, and you'd go back to picture watermark. You'd say, like, I want to select a picture. And I'll just work off of my system here, off my desktop. And let's say we want to go with this one here. So we'll double click it. There it is. The scale is going to be auto, just meaning that it'll be as big as it can be. Washed out, so it'll be faded out. Click on to apply, just so you can see what it looks like. And there it is. That's pretty cool. Now if you think that might be a little too big, you can say, well, I'll change the scale and I'll bring it down to maybe 100%. Let's see what 100% does. And we'll hit apply. Barely anything there. Maybe go up to about 200. And we'll apply that one. There we go. And you can try, taking off the washout and see if that makes any difference as far as being able to see it. And that might be a little too dark, so I think this is the way to go. Like that, and if anything, maybe a little bit bigger. Now we've got 500. I think 500 will be too. Oh no, there it goes. So what the heck? That looks pretty good. And you just close that up, and there you go. And that'll be on all your pages. Now, if you were to put any section breaks within your document, and let's say you put a section break at page 3 and another one at page 7. And then gone anywhere within 3 and 7 and done the same command, then it would have just done it within that area. But usually when you're doing this kind of thing, you want it to be the whole whole area. Now, if you want to get rid of it, all you have to do is just go back into Watermark and tell it that you want to remove the watermark. And there you go. You're back to having nothing. All right, now the next thing we're going to look at is putting page borders around the pages. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see a few more pages here. And pretty much click anywhere you want. And you go into the design, and of course you'd see page borders off to the far right there. You click onto that. Now, you can, go in there and pick, some preset ones. You can have like a box going around the entire page. You can have like a shadow, three-dimensional. You can get it looking pretty nasty too. So we'll start out first of all with just a standard, just a box going around it. So I'll click onto here, and there you'll see it going around the whole thing. Now, if I hit OK, then you'll see it there. Now, what it did was it put it around all the pages, including our title page. Now, if you don't want it on the title page, what you would do is you go back into page border, and here where it says apply to, we're going to change that to where it says this section, and we don't have any section breaks in here right now, so it's going to be the whole document with the exception of the first page. So we can click onto that, hit OK, and there you go. So no border around there, but you've got on the rest of this. So again, you can control where it does it to by putting in your section breaks and just having it affect that area, or putting your section breaks in so that you can have multiple areas with this in it, right? So if we were to maybe put a section break, let's say on this page right here, and let's say we were to do it over here, then it would just affect this area, and then you can go anywhere in this area and do another page border, and then you have a completely different one in there. Usually you wouldn't want to do something like that. Another thought with this is that you can go back into your borders here and maybe control, how many sides you get the border on. So what you could do, and also change the color as well, go in here and you can actually change the style. Do you want a solid line or a dash line? We'll leave it solid. We can also change the color. So maybe if you want to put a purple border going around it, that will look pretty nasty, or you can maybe go with a kind of a charcoal look there, and then go over here and change it to a little bit thicker, bordering. And then what you can also do then is take the border off the top and off the bottom and just have it on the left and right side. And we'll say this section, except for the first page, we'll just leave that option in there. Hit OK. And there we go. So it is what it is on that one. I don't particularly like that. I'm going to go back into the borders again and just put one here, put one there, hit OK, and there we go. All right, now another thing we can do with the borders, let's go back in there again. And we can actually go with artwork for our borders. And this is pretty wild. You go into here, you've got, apples and ice cream cones and cake and trees and palm trees, and it just goes and goes. There's a lot of these things in there. You get down towards the bottom and you've got some pretty fancy schmancy, bordering here. So let's say, for instance, you get down to the bottom here, and I go and I choose this one right here. You can see what it looks like there. Now you can tell it then as far as the size you want. So if you wanted to make it a little bit, I guess the maximum is 31, so we got to go back down a little bit. So if you want to make it smaller, you can do that. All right. And then the other thing is you can then go to the options and change, the margin of it. Now, before we do that, let's just take a look at what we have so far. I'll go ahead and hit OK, and there we go. And that looks pretty good. Now, if you'd rather the border come in a little bit, all right, what we're going to do is go back into the page borders, go over here to the options, and on here it talks about the margin. And right now, the margin is set at about 24, and that's 24 points, or approximately about 1/3 of an inch from the edge of the page. All right. So if we reduce this, it'll go closer to the edge of the page. If we increase it, then it will get closer, to the text. And let's just say we want to make it just a little bit closer, so we'll bring it up to maybe like 30. So you just go on each one of these and bring them up to 30. All right, you got that. There we go. And then once we've done that, we go ahead and hit OK a few times there, and then you'll see it come in a little bit closer. And then again, if you wanted to, just completely get rid of it, it was a bad idea, you go back into page borders, go back into none, click onto that, click onto OK, and you're back to square one again. Now another feature we have is something called page color. Now the page color is something that allows you to change the entire white area that you see there into some other color. Now the one thing about this is it does not print, so whatever color you make it, it'll show like that on the screen, and it's really meant just for people that are going to be screen reading it. But when you go to print it out, you won't see that color, on the printout. Now, what I like to use it for is that I don't really like, when I'm staring at the screen, to be seeing black on white. It's just a little bit hard on my eyes. So what I usually do is I will change the background color to just maybe like a really light gray or whatever. And that way, at least, it's a little bit easier to see. So let me give you an idea. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in just a little bit more. And there we go, okay? Now, I go over here to page color. Now, it doesn't matter where you're at. This does not get held back by section breaks. So you can't like say, well, I'll put a section break on page 5 and page 10 and page 15 and put different coloring in each of those. That'd be nice if you could do that, but you can't. So, at least from what I can see. So, you can be anywhere in the document. You go back into your page color, and then you go and you just kind of hover over the colors that you see here, find one that you like. If you go with the black, then you're going to get an inverse on your text. That, again, to me is hard to read as well. Or just find one of these other colors. So here's like your green and yellow and grays and so forth, and you can, even that one, when you look at that versus that makes a big difference. But again, if you're looking to do some colors, you can do that. You can also go back into more colors, bring up your little window here, and pick a color out of this. So you might say, well, just maybe a little bit, maybe a little gray like that, or not gray, I'm sorry. Maybe like a red here. And then what you can do is you can tone it down a little bit by going over to the custom, where then you can actually take the saturation here and bring that up, and the color that you're getting so far is what you see down there. So I'm just going to bring that up a little bit more, and there we go. Maybe something like that. Hit OK, and there you go. Ooh, that's wild. But you get the idea. And then again, you say, well, I'm done with this. I don't really need to be colored anymore. So you go back into your page color, you tell it no color, and you're back to square one again. All right, now the last thing I want to show you, when we kind of did this in a previous video, but I feel that it kind of relates to what we're doing here as well. So I'm just going to kind of repeat it just in case maybe you didn't see the video. And that is putting in line numbers. And usually you'll do line numbers. You'll see these like in contracts where you'll see like it'll say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it might reset, again, starting with 1 with the next page. And it's really meant a lot of times for contracts so that you can't like squeeze a line in between because they're all numbered, that type of thing, if you're trying to do it by hand or something. So the idea here is, how do you make it happen? And what you do is you just be somewhere in the document, you go back over into layout, and you will see line numbers right here. See? You click onto that, and you can just do continuous line numbers. Now, if you do continuous, what it does, it starts with, the number, and it just kind of works its way out. Now, you'll see on here it's got 3 because there's, and the reason why you got the, starting with number 3 here is because there's 2 lines over here, behind the page here for the cover page here. So what we want to do then is we'll do it a little bit different. I'm going to hit undo to undo that. And what I'll do at this point here is I will insert a section break, see? So I'll go back here and I'll click on the breaks, hit continuous. So now starting from here, that's section 2, and then this is section 1. So since I'm in section 2, it'll do it within section 2. We got a border here, basically. We got it blocked off a section, so it's not going to affect here. It's not going to take that into account, so you'll see it here. So here's what happens. We go back in now, hit line numbers, hit continuous, and now we get it there. So it's, 1 through whatever, 24 there, and then it picks up as 25. If you'd rather restart each time, then what you can do is you can go back in there and tell it to restart on each page. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it does it again for here as well. Usually that's not what they do with the contracts. They'll usually put it, continuous, but you've got that in there. And they got other things you can do too, but the idea here is, especially if you had sections, additional ones, it would restart in each section, whatever. I think the big one here would be probably the continuous and going with that. That's about it. So hopefully this helps. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. Oh, by the way, too, if you're still there, you can you can also turn all this off by just going back in the line numbers, right, and tell it none, and now you're back to square one again. So sorry about that, but okay, you got it now. So take care. Bye-bye.